Heather Davidson, who is our Director of Public Policy and Strategic Initiatives at United Way of Broward County. And she's going to give everyone really a look at our policy update and our ALICE population as well. Heather, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Hi, thank you, Mary Beth. Good morning, everyone. I was just scrolling through the chat. So nice to see so many great people who have joined us today. Hope you're all well, staying safe. As Mary Beth said, I'm the Director of Public Policy and Strategic Initiatives for United Way of Broward County. And just to kick us off today, I'm going to give you an overview of our ALICE population, which is really important to our core mission here at United Way, and talk a bit about some of the federal advocacy that we have been doing on the national level. So really, to get started, our entire country, our community, our state has been hugely impacted by COVID-19. And this really plays into our ALICE population, which is a report that we produce every 2 years, which highlights our asset limited, income constrained, but employed families. The key word being employed. These are our folks throughout the state, throughout our community, and throughout our country who are working paycheck to paycheck, but are one unexpected financial situation away from being in a crisis. That's what COVID-19 is highlighting right now. It is highlighting nationally how vulnerable our ALICE, our working population is, and how vulnerable our economy is. Already in Broward County, we have 50% of families who are struggling to pay their bills every single month and to stay above the threshold of surviving the survival budget that they need to maintain to be able to pay for their car and their housing and their food and their childcare and their health care. With that, in Broward County, that's as of 2016, 252,145 households just within our community that are struggling. Really, how this has been highlighted during COVID-19 is that even beforehand, even before COVID, 14% of households were on the cusp of having that financial instability. And we know that during this time where we're seeing our industries being impacted, where employees are being impacted, that we are going to continue to see our families become vulnerable and that number continue to rise. This is impacted by the way that our workforce is made up. We have 24% of working families and individuals within the state of Florida. Only that 24% are considered to be working full-time and salaried. On top of that, more than half of our employees within Florida are working hourly. And of that 60% of families who are working hourly, they're making less than $20 per hour. And of that, 75% of those folks are making less than $15 per hour, really putting them in a vulnerable position of where if they're missing a paycheck, they're missing a payment on a bill. We also, at this time, as you know, if you've been watching the news, this has been impacted by our increased need for unemployment assistance and unemployment insurance. In Florida, the max you can receive per week is $275, but under the CARES Act, an additional $600 was able to be allocated to families. The challenge in Florida is our system for applying for these benefits under the Department of Economic Opportunity was compromised, and that we weren't able to process folks as they were coming through. It was becoming increasingly difficult to be able to access those unemployment benefits. And as of Monday, 40% of the claims that went through were deemed to be not eligible. Now, there have been some changes in leadership. Secretary Satter came over to the Department of Economic Opportunity, or the DEO, to be able to say that, hey, look, at this time, we are trying to process more and more applications as they come through. We're going to ensure that folks, if you applied as of March 9th and we were experiencing issues to our system to be able to make sure that you receive those benefits, that your application will be eligible retroactive to March 9th, because that's through no fault of your own that it wasn't being processed. Additionally, our delegation through Broward County has been focused on ensuring that we're advocating on a state level that anybody who applies for their unemployment insurance, that they're eligible of receiving that payment as of the date that they lost employment versus the date that they put in their application. I know this has been a huge platform for Representative Jones. I see his legislative assistant Jessica is on the webinar, so we want to thank them for their advocacy as well. I want to leave you with a few takeaways for Alice and COVID. Alice remained central to this story during COVID. Unfortunately, we will see these households increase, and our seniors have been highlighted during this time as being a very at-risk group who's impacted by this pandemic. We do have our updated Alice report is coming out next Monday on May 4th. It will be available on our website at unitedwaybroward.org/Alice. We look forward to sharing this information with you. In addition to fighting for making sure that information is out there about our Alice families, you know that on a federal, state, and local level, as a United Way network, we continue to advocate and fight to make sure that we have services in place and funding in place. On the federal level, we've really been working with our congressional delegation and our senators to ensure that we have support in place for economic stimulus. The third CARES Act, or the third package on the federal level for the CARES Act, really highlighted a huge need for our nonprofits to be supported. We were part of a network of 200 nonprofits that were fighting for making sure that we have support services in place for our Alice families, making sure that, of course, that we're protected. It's like put on your own oxygen mask before you try and give it to someone else. So making sure that our nonprofits have services as well, or have access to support services. Nonprofits make up 10% of our GDP and 10% of our workforce within the United States. So one of our big asks was ensuring that nonprofits were covered under the payroll protection program that was being offered through the Small Business Administration. That was covered. We also made an ask that nonprofits that receive payments through Medicaid, that they could also benefit from these support services, and they were included. We were really excited about that because the language at first was putting them off to the side where they wouldn't be able to access the payroll protection program. And we also asked that at this time, since we know that nonprofits who are our safety net, that we were going to be at risk of losing some philanthropy. So we wanted to create an incentive for our donors to be able to provide charitable donations. So we asked for the non-itemized or charitable deduction to be included up to $300 for 2020. As taxes are extended, folks can continue to use that in their tax returns. And we are going to continue to make that ask for the future, because that is a huge way that we can incentivize people to continue to be engaged with our nonprofits. And on a funding level, the CARES Act was extremely comprehensive in providing funding for each of our areas that keep our country healthy and thriving. Some of the big areas that we were looking at were for emergency food and shelter. We have $200 million that was allocated, $3.5 billion for childcare and development block grants, $750 million for Head Start, and $8.8 billion for child nutrition programs. Additionally, we wanted to ensure that folks who are renting have access to rental assistance, and for our homeless folks that they have access to temporary shelter. As a result, $12 billion was added for housing protections for folks, all the way from rental assistance to supporting our homeless population at this time. We also had asked for increases to substance abuse and mental health services. As we know, and we're seeing every day through 211, there are increased calls for mental health services. People are feeling isolated and they need help, they need support. So there was $425 million that was allocated to our federal programs for substance use and for mental health. And of course, making sure that our vulnerable populations, like our folks who are impacted by domestic violence, who are isolated at this time and may not have access to move out on their own, that they have access to funds for emergency services to be able to get out of a dangerous situation. This fight continues. This was one packet. The fourth packet that came out last week focused on increasing funding for our small businesses through the Payroll Protection Program, an additional $321 billion. We are going to continue to fight as that fifth packet comes out. We do know that as of yesterday, the House announced that they will not be going back to DC. So this is going to be a bit of a longer process than we had anticipated, but it gives us time to make really good, solid asks to make sure that we continue to have that housing support that we need. We know affordable housing is a huge issue in our community, and we don't want to forget about providing economic incentives like VITA, our voluntary income tax assistance programs, to our ALICE families to make sure that they are assisted at this time. So I really wanted to just give you this broad view of what's happening in our advocacy and ALICE world. Please don't forget that we are fighting for you every single day, and we are so happy that you are here engaging with us, and thank you for everything that you do, and please stay safe. And with that, we're going to pass it to Kathleen Cannon, our president and CEO for United Way of Broward County. She has been fighting tirelessly for you and for our community, so really happy to announce Kathleen.
Ms. Heather, thank you so much. I think folks know on the phone and on the call today that Heather, Director of Public Policy and Strategic Initiatives, so she does a lot for us and she's a valued asset. Thank you, Heather, so much for your local advocacy here in Broward County, throughout the state and the nation as well, and we are strong. So certainly, guys, this is definitely unprecedented times, but I am excited that you guys are joining. I know everybody is different. I mean, everybody's so busy in different ways, and appreciate you tuning in. We're going to be respectful of your time, but we have a wide cadre of you on the phone today. We have donors and volunteers. We have civil servants. We have our judges. We have business leaders. And oh my goodness, we have so many board members. So I do want to thank the board of directors for United Way, leading our efforts, supporting us, listening to my crazy big ideas and letting me go with them. So thank you so much for all of your support on there. Now I'm going to try to stick to 3 areas today. I'm going to talk about United Way's activities and our impact right now. I'm going to talk about the state of United Way, and then I'll really kind of talk about at the end the future of United Way. Now, many of you already know our mission, and we breathe it, live it, we actionable it around everything that we do. United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person here in Broward County. We take it seriously. We are dedicated to it. We strategize. We put business acumen around all of those areas. In normal times, I think you all know that we're funding over 100 programs and initiatives in our community in many different areas, but in those mission areas that I talked about. The slide that's up is, I call it our DNA slide. It is all the different initiatives and areas that we're funding, supporting, doing, leading, convening, or joining in. We love to study this community. We like filling the gaps, mobilizing quickly, making sure that all areas are thriving. We blanket the community with a holistic strategy so all people thrive. We concentrate on more vulnerable folks here, and then we all know if we can support our most vulnerable communities and population, everybody does better. Our businesses do better, our economy does better, our schools do better, crime goes down. That's why that strategy is so important on the entire community. So while that DNA, and we're doing all of those activities, of course, as you know, COVID hit. And while we are not letting up on all of those things that we're doing, and I'll touch on that and talk about that a little bit, we quickly realized that this was going to be a pandemic and that it was going to affect so many people here in our community, and that it was going to be a cataclysmic catastrophe for so many of our families. So we quickly mobilized, got together. Our ALICE population that Heather talked about, so many of our people are working so hard here, doing all the right things, maybe being paid hourly, etc. We knew that the ALICE population was already vulnerable, and then when COVID hit, we knew that they were going to need so much extra help, and that for the first time there were going to be people coming for services and for help that had never come before. So we sprang into immediate action. We determined very quickly, we did a real prioritization, looked at the data, looked at what we thought the data was going to be, and the next week, there's 3 weeks, 5 weeks, now we're into 6 weeks. We quickly determined that emergency financial assistance was going to be paramount to being able to assist with rent, mortgage, utilities, basic needs. Now, gang, we all know that nobody's going to be evicted right now, or nobody's going to be foreclosed, and their lights are not going to be turned off, and their car's not going to be repossessed, but they are still going to owe that money. And many folks were already behind, and they squeak by every month or every paycheck to make that happen. We wanted to get in there quickly and make sure that folks didn't fall more behind, or that we could just keep folks up. There was enough stress happening. We didn't want the added financial strife that people feel. So we knew emergency financial assistance was key, and it had to be quick, and it still needs to continue to be quick. The second area and priority that we focused on was food assistance. So meal sites, food distribution, Publix gift cards, other supermarket gift cards, deliveries. Now, our school has done such a great job feeding the kids that we're getting free or reduced meals, but we also wanted to make sure that we could feed the families around those kids. And then a group formed together for Broward about feeding. So many people came together, but we knew food was going to be vital. My gosh, we have shut-in seniors, we have people with disabilities, we have people living in poverty, we have people who have lost their jobs and wages. All these kids now at home who were fed at school, the schools are still taking care of them, but it's extra mouths for everybody to feed. And we wanted to make sure that those communities were supported. We don't want people to go hungry at all. And so many of you are doing the same things. Dive in with us, helping with that, and we're supporting many of your efforts. Now, the third area that we knew was going to be crisis and that we wanted to support, and you heard Heather talk about, nonprofits in this country are 10% of the GDP. They are 10% of the workforce. We as nonprofit community employ over 12 million people in this country. We're an important factor here. And we wanted to make sure that our nonprofits were supported. So the funding that we were giving for other programs, we quickly let, I think it was like day one, we let nonprofits know, just, we're going to continue to pay you, even though you can't do the same services that you were doing. Please try to keep your doors open. We want to support you financially. We don't want you to lay off your staff. They have been unbelievable in how they are providing services in this new era and this new day. And we wanted to make sure that they were supported. And we are still trying to support you. We're still trying to raise dollars to be able to do that. I think you know that we set up a COVID campaign fund. We couldn't do all that if we had not raised dollars around it. Again, we came out in crisis mode that we wanted to support and be able to plug in some holes and not have catastrophes happen for people. We reached out to donors. Within 10 days, we had pulled in $1 million. We had funded 23 organizations. We're much higher than the 23 now, but that was our initial push out. And I can't mention all donors, but I do want to mention the Jim Moran Foundation, who was the first donor. They seeded this effort for us. They've done so much more now for the community. It's like off the chart. They are really leading the philanthropic effort here in this community and many other communities, but they did see the need for this. And there's many other companies and folks on this screen. And of course, there's tons of donors who really dedicated dollars to this. So we've got the big ones like the Jim Moran Foundation. And then I just want to mention an example of how anybody can do something to make a difference. So Michael Daly is an 18-year-old resident here in Broward County, grandson of our great volunteer Paul Daly. And every Sunday he hosts a Facebook Live concert. He's super talented. He sings and plays the guitar, does it live every Sunday, and has a little sign up right by his guitar. Hey, funds going to United Way Broward County. email me to Venmo or cash me to Venmo. And he collects money through his Venmo account, and then his family turns around and writes a check to us. So I wanted to kind of highlight how people can do anything here to make a difference. One, he's spreading happiness and joy. Two, he's raising dollars. He's 18 years old, and I'm just so proud of all the folks who are participating in different ways to make such a difference here for folks that really are in bad shape right now. Now, thank you. Many of you on this call are donors, so I want to thank you all and your companies and who you are. Because of you, immediately out of the gate, we doubled the amount of fresh, nutritious food that we distribute through our Project Lifeline. We used to deliver once a week to food banks. We're delivering twice a week, and it's all fresh food so that people that are coming to food banks, and many people are coming for the first time ever to a food bank, we want them to leave with fresh food. We also delivered 20,000 meals to homebound seniors, low-income family, and homeless folks. We put 24-hour staff on site for Mission United. So there is a phone call. You can call 211 or for Mission United, and an outreach worker is 24 hours assisting all of our veterans. Our veterans are sometimes a vulnerable population. We're housing you in the middle of the night. I just signed 7 leases this past week for veterans. So we want to be able to support that community, and we're doing that 24/7. And right now, some of you wrote to me that you couldn't join the town hall because you're doing a volunteer activity. So thank you for that. Not that you're hearing this right now, but you are literally distributing food to homebound veterans. I think we're doing 100 today. We did 100 a couple weeks ago. We've got a lot of older veterans that are homebound. So I want to thank you, and your donor dollars are making that happen on a daily basis. Another thing that we did quickly with your money is we purchased and distributed masks, gloves, hand sanitizers, toilet paper. Still don't understand the toilet paper debacle, but we were able to get toilet paper out. And then we did these wait here signs, and they're sticky on the back. So we delivered these to our nonprofit partners who have to serve folks so that we can space people 6 feet apart. We were trying to be creative how we could help you and help the community provide service, but do it in a safe manner. We also purchased to-go containers for our wonderful nonprofits that are providing meals. We can't do big buffet styles anymore. It has to be a hand and go and a grab and go. So again, with your dollars, we were trying to be very creative how we could support all you, but still get services out into the community. So many of you are donors, so thank you for that. And we've done much more since then. And many of you are volunteers. And we're going to ask you to continue to volunteer. We have different types of volunteer activities that we have asked you to do, and we've empowered you to do, and that you are doing. Many of them are from your own homes so that you can stay safe and we can social distance and you can help flatten the curve. We did a campaign where we asked you to put up a sign, "Stay home, Broward, flatten the curve," and we got that out and the whole community did it. And honest to goodness, Broward did an awesome job about flattening the curve. So thank you guys for doing that. Another in-home activity that our volunteers did, and we're asking you to still do, is to record yourself reading a children's book. It's called Story Time, and we're getting all those stories and all those recordings to families and kids and teachers who are now distance learning and reading from home and learning from home. I did a reading. I did something on the veterans that one of our Mission United clients wrote this book, and I just did another one the other day. We're collecting them all, and you can see that folks on the screen have done that. So please continue to do that. You can do it again from your own home. We also put out a mask making request, and we've gotten so many people. This is my mask, and we have many others that we've asked you to make from your home. Get here, and we're getting those out. We have providers that have boarding houses and serving the homeless and serving meals. And we were at the library the other day handing out masks, etc. We need supplies to be able to blanket this community with that. Now, we've also asked you to volunteer and be out and about, and we're keeping you safe while we're doing that. So we've got masks for you and hand sanitizers and gloves, and we're spacing you apart. We're not getting people close to each other. Like I said, there's a whole group of folks right now doing that. And we are also asking our volunteers, we're deploying you to other agencies to be able to help there as well. So go to our website, you can sign up to volunteer. There's lots of different ways that you can do that. So that's some of the initial COVID activities that we did, again, with your help as companies and donors and foundations. So thank you for that. But I also want folks to know we're supporting in other ways. We just sent out 120 free books to families that did not have any books at home. We want to make sure that we're continuing to build home libraries and that learning and literacy is still happening. We are getting ready now to send 400 summer reading kits to families, and we have a great donor that's going to do toys, so we're going to be able to package that with a toy and get that out to hopefully over 500. We'd like to add to that. We are holding these weekly Zoom webinars and meetings. Now, today's a town hall, but the others that we have done, we did on behavioral health issues, we did mental health, we did suicide prevention, we did health disparities, we did Mission United, we did homelessness, we did the CARES Act, and we are doing others. So please tune in. We're always sending those out. We want to continue to educate the community in all different areas, not just about COVID, but certainly about these odd times. We want to be able to get you out. We want to engage with you in different ways. So please kind of tune into those. Now, the only reason that we're able to be so responsive and so quickly is one, because of you and what you do and how you engage and how you collaborate, and that you're a donor and that you're invested in each other and in this community. And the second reason we're able to do that is because we are a strong, confident, prepared, nimble organization. I am so proud of the staff and the team and how we transitioned, pivoted, moved. Nobody froze, everybody jumped into action, and I'm super proud of that, and I want the community to know about that. Now, the second area that I said I was going to touch on is kind of the state of United Way as a whole. I will touch on the picture on the screen. This is Oilime Fernandez. She's our Director of Emergency Management. She is out and about all the time. You can see her at a water distribution site here. Well, COVID certainly is unprecedented, right? We've not had this before, certainly not in my lifetime, in all of our lifetimes. But honest to goodness, United Way of Broward County, we have muscle memory for this. We respond to all types of crisis. We practice for this, and we are nimble and agile and smart and talented. Now, I'm not saying we had a pandemic in the playbook. We didn't, but we had so many other things in the playbook that we so easily pivoted and jumped in of how we were going to respond, how we were going to change. We certainly retooled the way we were doing impact. We can't go into the schools, we can't go into communities, we can't have hundreds of people come to events anymore, but we so pivoted and we quickly retooled of how we were doing things. We're maintaining our crazy work ethic. Many of you know me, so that means you know the staff, and that the staff is working just as hard. We put teams and staff on new teams. We redesigned teams and we redesigned tasks, and we redesigned how we were going to do things, and we cross-teamed different folks from finance and HR to impact to major gifts. So we wanted to make sure that we were responding in different ways and thinking creatively and differently. Obviously, you know that we are all in on public policy and making sure that we are supporting health, human services, education, and our communities in that way. I think you also know we're part of the EOC, which is the Emergency Operations Center. So we're focused on that as well. Also, we kept all of our task forces going. Now, again, we're doing it differently, but we still, our task forces, the Commission on Substance Abuse and Drug Prevention, 100% active. United We End Homelessness, Mission United, Zero Suicide Coalition, many other task forces and things that we were doing here, Public Policy Committee, etc., still happening, still focused on their areas, still moving the mission forward, still reaching out to you and asking you to engage and join those committees. I do want folks to know we're continuing to apply for grants and different funds for all of those initiatives and to move our mission forward so that we can serve more of you. We are working with our companies on their annual campaigns. We understand that there are companies suffering, and we're actually here supporting you, but we also need you to engage with us and continue to do workplace campaigns so we can continue the mission. We are obviously finding creative ways to host events. We do a lot of events, and we had to rethink that. Obviously the Zoom meeting and this town hall, but I'll give a couple examples of some events that we're doing very differently. We host something called Rising Above the Stigma. It is in Espanol only. We do this. It is about the Hispanic community and the stigma on mental health. Obviously, we usually do this in person and have hundreds of people that attend. So we are doing it this Saturday, May 2nd, by Zoom. It is only in Espanol. Our Dr. Juan is our speaker. He is amazing. We have more than 250 people already signed up for that, and we can take some more. So that's an example of us still providing services, but doing it in a different way. Another event that we loved hosting and that was super popular was our Women United Magnolia Luncheon. Now we're gonna still have it, but it's gonna be a virtual Magnolia, kind of like a mini Magnolia. We're gonna do that on June 3rd. We have an amazing guest speaker, Nicole Malakowski. She is the first female Thunderbird pilot ever, and she's awesome. And we were signing the contract. I wanted to see if I could actually pilot her Thunderbird, but they said no, but that's all right. I allowed her to come on and be the guest speaker anyway. But please, you guys got to tune in for that, and it's going to be an exciting event. And again, I'm so proud how we have retooled everything and working with folks and making sure that you're engaged. We're strong, we're joyful, we are looking for the gratitude in all that we're doing and that you're doing. We're working hard, we're planning smart. Many people keep saying it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Let me tell you guys, it's a sprint and a marathon. There are crises happening every day that we need to respond to as a community. And then there's long-term crises that we don't even know yet, some of the ramifications. This is a sprint and a marathon, and we need you to engage with us in all of those areas. Today, tomorrow, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, 80 years down the road with us. So thanks for tuning in today. I'm going to be back in a little bit. But we have Bob Swindell, which I'm very excited about. Not only is Bob the amazing CEO for the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance, he's a board member of United Way of Broward County. I'm a board member of the Alliance, and Bob and I tease a lot that we are work spouses because we work on so many initiatives together. And Bob, thank you for coming on to the United Way's Town Hall. I'm gonna turn it over to you, and then I'll come back after that. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. It's an honor to be part of your board, and it's just amazing the United Way's leadership on our social safety net in Broward County. We're so lucky to have you at the helm, and you have a great board as well. But I also appreciate Heather doing a great job in teeing up the comprehensive presentation on the unprecedented health and economic crisis that's impacting our residents right now. Unfortunately, I firmly believe the economic devastation caused by the C-19 virus is going to have a longer lasting impact than even the health crisis has been.
Yeah.
The cascading effect of small businesses closing their doors, our residents being out of work and unable to support their families, that's going to have a greater and longer impact. And really will underscore the need of the social safety net for folks that have lost their livelihoods. When businesses look at communities that they want to become a part of and relocate to, the corporate fabric and that social safety net are part of the criteria that companies think about and consider. So the work United Way is really important from the business perspective. But think about this, we were at record low unemployment in Broward County. We were at times at the lowest unemployment in South Florida. Under 3%. Today, I was talking to Mason Jackson yesterday, the CEO of Career Source Broward. we're way over 15%, and that's just sort of the documented number. I think, you know, Mason and I have a suspicion that we're a lot higher than that right now. So again, the economic impact this is having is going to be long felt. I think you and Heather teed it up, you know, incredibly well with the need for rental assistance. I mean, this is something that really worries me. I mean, it's great that we've suspended evictions and you know, we're doing our best to protect our residents. But I really worry about the summertime and what's going to happen.
Me too.
So I think we've got to work together with the coordinating council and maybe utilize the Broward's Affordable Housing Trust to find ways to provide some immediate assistance to families. I mean, I think keeping folks in their homes is going to be something that we're going to have to pivot and make a priority. And I know it's not ideal. We want to build more affordable housing, but I think the shock to the system, and then you add the behavioral health and mental health needs of folks that feel isolated right now. They don't know how they're going to be able to put food on the table. You know, it's amazing, you know, what all the work that United Way has done. Our Broward County school system, I mean, 150,000 meals in 1 week. I think they expanded to over 50 distribution sources. But when we see photographs and live coverage on TV of thousands of people waiting in line for food from our food banks, it really it makes your heart sink. But I'm afraid that as we begin our recovery, that the demand on social services is going to overwhelm the system, very much like we've seen with unemployment and the Small Business Administration. I mean, as much as you try to prepare, I mean, I don't think anyone ever contemplated a shock to our system like this. So as much as you're doing and the team's doing, we're really going to need the support throughout our community to make sure that we can deliver to the folks that need help most. You know, Kathleen, you and I have often talked that, you know, employment is one of the most sustainable things that we can provide our residents. When we look at how we, you know, exercise our social safety net, and getting people back employed has got to be our top priority, not only for the pride of work and you know, the ability for folks to support themselves and their families, but it really is the most sustainable form of help that we can provide people. So, you know, I'm appreciative of the fact that the federal and local leadership is focused on getting back to business. We want to do it safely. We want to make sure that obviously testing becomes more prevalent, so we can quantify the risk. But I know from talking to our business people that they take this as seriously as we do when it comes to safety. And they have more to lose in this than anyone else if we don't do things safely. If we see a spike in people coming down with the virus, you know, we have to go back to more restrictions on businesses and the way that we can do business in Broward, that's going to have a devastating impact. I will tell you on the positive side, you know, talking to our partners, we think that there's, you know, the success for business and for folks in Broward is pretty straightforward. We're calling it the 3 C's. So it's consistency, confidence, and collaboration. Consistency obviously is the consistent application of the CDC guidelines across businesses and public facilities throughout Broward and South Florida. I'll share with you, and Kathleen's been a part of these calls, we have an incredibly hardworking county administrator, and Ms. Henry stays in contact with me, her counterparts in both Miami-Dade and Broward and Monroe, and most importantly, in my mind, the 31 city managers throughout Broward County. Again, so we can be consistent in policy changes that we're making. The second is confidence. You know, we've got to restore the public's confidence in our safety protocols, and that businesses take those safety protocols seriously. Again, as I said, they have more to lose than anyone in this. So I'm confident in what I've read from leaders like Tim Petrillo, who's a local restaurateur, the programs that they're putting together. Another restaurateur calls it the 10 commitments. It's sort of like the 10 commandments, but it's the 10 commitments for employees, the things that they'll commit to do every day when they come to work. You know, testing your temperature, obviously hygiene and how you interact with patrons is going to be incredibly important, but we've got to restore that confidence to make sure that that folks feel safe when they're out, hopefully conducting business. And the last is collaboration. And I think everyone on this call, if they don't know it already, it's part of the DNA of Broward County. I mean, we would not be as successful as we are as a community if it wasn't for an amazing collaboration across nonprofits, businesses, our elected leaders. And I'm excited to announce that we're working on a project, and we're utilizing all of our partners in this. It's called I Love Local 2020. And we actually have the domain ilovelocal2020.com. But it's going to be a comprehensive 90-day campaign. This is not a long campaign. But we want to create a buy local, eat local, play local, entertain local, and stay local campaign. Working with key partners like the United Way, the Broward County Council of Chambers, the Broward Workshop, our local Convention and Visitors Bureau, industry associations like the South Florida Manufacturers, and the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association. We want to work to give our economy locally a 90-day shot in the arm to restore confidence and to get people out becoming customers again. You know, talking to businesses, the needs for our businesses, you know, run the gamut as it would for the variety of businesses we have in Broward. But the one constant denominator that I hear is I need customers and I need revenue. I want to hire employees back again, but to be able to accomplish that, I need to see that there's revenue coming in and that we can sustain bringing our folks back. People that were employed 7 weeks ago, for the most part, I think want to go back to the companies that they were working for. So the way we accomplish that is really creating confidence and creating a system where customers can go back again. And you know, we hope that this will give our local economy a shot in the arm. We're asking our community leaders to lead by example, posting how they are supporting the local economy with real-time posts. And again, it goes back to building confidence. You know, we're going to highlight our small businesses that are certified in Broward County and encourage what we call our anchor institutions, our large public employers, but also our private employers. You know, our Rick and Rita Case, their automobile dealerships, City Furniture. You know, we know who those companies are, but encouraging them, you know, if there's something that you can do to buy local, let's do that. I was talking to Senator Scott earlier today, and his mantra is very similar. If you can't buy it in Broward, you know, buy it in South Florida. If you can't buy it in South Florida, buy it within Florida, and really focus on how we stimulate our local and state economy. We're lucky to have our CEO Council at the Alliance behind this. They represent some of the largest businesses in Broward. But this campaign will be a comprehensive digital media campaign, print media, and social media. It'll be structured and very precise in its marketing plan. And again, it's 90 days, so it's not going to be a long-term thing. This is really designed to be a shot in the arm. But we've got marketing experts like Rick and Rita Case, Keith Koenig, Jordan Zimmerman on our CEO Council, and Colin Brown, just to name a few, who chairs our CEO Council. We've got incredible talent, and I am very optimistic. And I'll close with this. You know, we're very focused, obviously, on the COVID virus and how we get back to business. But the primary role of the Alliance, as Kathleen knows, and hopefully a lot of the people on this Zoom meeting know, it's really about bringing new jobs to Broward and working with businesses on locations in Broward and South Florida. We are currently working projects, believe it or not. Companies are still out there. A lot of the real estate site selectors work remotely anyway. So we're doing virtual tours of sites in Broward County. We hopefully will have an in-market visit with a headquarters opportunity out of Chicago in the near future. So again, you know, South Florida is going to continue to be a great place to do business. When you look at the tax benefits of being in Florida, you know, the economy, and if you're going to be stuck anywhere, I think you'd want to be stuck in South Florida. And the reality is population density is going to have an increasing impact on evaluations that businesses make on where they want to be. It may be an unspoken criteria, but it'll be one that people are thinking about. And I think South Florida offers all the amenities of a major city. We are a major city in a major region, but we also have, you know, a great scale and a great quality of life. And I think that's going to be, you know, more and more important as we move forward. So thanks again for the opportunity. I'm happy to answer any questions, but you know, we love our partnership with the United Way, and we love the team at United Way. And very much like you, the Alliance has been open since the start of this. Physically, our office is open, so We've got folks like Helen Culp, who is our director of first impressions. Helen's old school. If she didn't come to the office, it wouldn't be work. So, we have continued to be open to service not only our members, but also the businesses that are in Broward and new potential businesses. So thanks again, Kathleen.
Bob, thank you so much. And we certainly feel a kinship with you. You guys do such an outstanding job talking about South Florida, attracting business, supporting the businesses that are here. And you and I have always talked about that part of the attraction of businesses coming here to Broward County is the safety net we have and the collaboration that you talked about. You talked about Bertha and the county and our cities. We're working with the county and all the cities and trying to, again, all row in the same direction. But that comes back to your collaboration, the consistency, confidence, and collaboration. That's a great triple whammy about how we do work together, and we feel connected, of course, to business. We feel that we support the safety net and that we work so good together. And I'll reiterate again that nonprofit is a tax status and not a paradigm for running a business. I'm a business, we're a business, and we run a business, and you understand and get the connection of that. And I want to thank you so much for managing our economy, talking to us about the impact. We have to brace ourselves and prepare, and we want all folks to get back to work. And the reality is it's going to take some effort by all of us to be able to do that. But no better hands to do that than you. So thank you so much, Bob, for everything that you guys do for our community. So you have mentioned Colin Brown. I have to mention, I know he's the chair of the CEO Council. He's also a long-term board member of ours on the call today, just made himself an enormous donation yesterday. So do want to thank him for that. He's such a leader in this community. We also had Chip LaMarca on the call, who's fighting for Broward, for us, working with the governor. We had talked to him about the impact of nonprofits, and he is bringing that message forth. So I want to say that and thank that again. I do want to talk about our website really quickly. We have a lot of resources on there. We have, how to work from home, new ways of doing that, mental health services, how to keep yourself strong, what to do. Again, we're trying to prepare folks in all different ways. So I will ask folks to go on there about volunteer activities, donor activities, lots of different resources that we are. And I want to do time for questions, and we're going to throw this through the chat, but I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. My job at United Way is raising resources that we can do the impact. I think most of you know I'm a social worker by trade. So for me, the impact in the community, being a social worker, running other organizations, I know what the safety net is and how that is needed. So I appreciate that so much. But I'm going to ask you guys to continue to engage with us, to continue to donate, to steward the message. We can do this together, and we can make sure that Broward totally continues to thrive. We have to support the most vulnerable. I have shared that before. It's an economic stakeholder for all of us. If we support all of those who need the most support, everybody's business does better. We'll get everybody back to work. So I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Bob, I want to thank you. I want to thank Heather for our advocacy, all the entire staff. Mary Beth, thanks for putting this together. We do have some questions in the chat. So Mary Beth, I know, is unmuted, and we're going to go through some of those questions. We want to be mindful of time and make sure that we get you all out. So Mary Beth, why don't you take us away?
Sure. Again, thank you all for tuning in today. So much information and so much that we're doing out in the community. As Kathleen mentioned, a lot of what we're able to do comes through dollars. We did talk about at the beginning that we do have a United Way emergency COVID-19 emergency fund. So please, you all will have received an email by now. If you haven't already, we're asking you to please contribute to our emergency fund if you are able. We are continuing our services. We're asking that you please continue to give your annual gifts. We want to be able to continue what we're doing in the community and help those individuals that most need it. So as Kathleen said, we do have a few minutes left. I know a bunch of questions have been going through the chat box. And so I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Ryan Bancroft, who's going to help field some of those questions that have been coming in, because if one person has that question, odds are some more folks do. So Ryan, if I hand it over to you, can you please take it away with questions?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mary Beth, and good afternoon, everyone. So we have a really great question from Steve Holman for Kathleen, and he would like to know, during the time of COVID, how would you try to motivate, how would you recommend that employers motivate their employees to give to a workplace campaign when they have been hit very hard by furloughs and they're anxious about the stability of their own jobs?
So Steve, thanks for being on the call today, and the Holman family and Holman Automotive, oh my goodness, have been so good to United Way and to so many charities. And so I do know that this is going to be challenging because many, again, people are furloughed. Hard to ask folks to donate anything out of their paycheck when their paycheck might look dramatically different than it has in the past. So we're going to be reaching out to you and other companies with somewhat creative ways that maybe we could do some special events. Could we bring people together and do some socially distanced but activities as well to re-engage people in the work? We'd like to showcase the work. We used to do get on the bus. Now we can't do that. So everything is a little bit different, but we would like to virtually do get on the bus and show folks that there is some real suffering here. And if there is any ability for somebody to give something, every dollar counts. We can leverage dollars, and we pull federal dollars down with the dollars that we can pull in, so we can really triple your money. So Steve, we're going to be working with you and Mindy and the Holman family and other companies of how to do that. We're hoping virtually you'll let us talk to some of the associates and the staff. And also remember that we are also here to support your staff that is suffering. So we're helping folks in that way too. So this is a two-way street that we really want to help each other. So thanks for all your support. I spoke to Thomas Ignizio the other day from Infinity. So you guys are still working and still helping us all in the community. And thanks for being on.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathleen. We also had a question from Judge Lerner Wren, and she was asking about mental health resources for folks in the community. Maria Hernandez did weigh in on some of those resources. I weighed in on some of those resources as well, but is there anything that you'd like to touch on from how we might be helping folks in terms of mental health first aid education?
Judge Wren, thank you so much for being on. And Judge Ginger Lerner Wren is on our Commission of Substance Abuse and Drug Prevention and leads mental health court here in Broward County. Started the first mental health court ever and is an international speaker on how to do that around the world. So thank you, as we're so lucky to have your talent here. So the Broward Behavioral Health Coalition is still an essential business like United Way. We are, again, retooling how we're doing things. 211 is our mainstay for folks to make that phone call. If it's a crisis, they move into crisis and critical intervention. There are treatment centers, there are prevention programs, there's ways that we're deploying different resources, as well as I know you are too, and others. So 211 is a great connector of those different resources and how they are different today than they have been in the past, but that they are available. And our website also has resources how to do that. And if there's anybody that needs anything, I think folks know that we are available as well. Through our website, there is an easy way to chat with me and others, and we want to be able to get those resources out. This is a difficult time. People are not locked in their homes, but people are working from home, doing everything from home, and things have changed with lots of family dynamic, and we're very keenly aware of that and trying to respond to that. I just heard on the news this morning, 2 physicians that really have, not here, luckily, but 2 physicians that working in the COVID field committed suicide. Suicide is on the rise, and I think our community does know that. And it's not linked to some serious mental health. It's more linked to a deep despair that you see no way out. And we want to be able to be super responsive. And that's another thing I'm going to ask everybody on this call. You all know friends, relatives, people, neighbors, etc. People can make phone calls. You can call somebody, just say, hey, checking in, a text message, hey, checking in. Honest to goodness, you never know when you're checking in with somebody what might be going on in their world. We don't know what's happening in people's lives. People keep that private. So I'm going to ask everybody on this call today, reach out to 10 people you have not reached out to lately. Do a text message, do something to them to just say you're asking about them, thinking about them. And Judge Wren, we will work together as we always do to make sure that there are plenty of resources. That's another reason why we're holding Rising Above the Stigma on Saturday. We have to get rid of the stigma about mental illness. Everybody's mental health is so important to all you do. Right? We're complex beings. We've got mental health, we've got spiritual health, we have sexual health, we have intellectual health. We have all these things that make up us as beautiful people. We have to take all those pieces of the pie and make sure that we're feeding them all in a great way. So please reach out. We'll share some more of that.
Excellent. Thank you, Kathleen. Sasha Moon and a few others asked about volunteer opportunities. We directed them to the volunteer COVID link, but Sasha in particular is asking for information perhaps on more virtual volunteer opportunities for people who don't necessarily want to be out in the public but still want to help. I know we saw Sasha Moon and her family on Instagram earlier reading a book. So are there any other creative ways that you can think of to volunteer virtually?
So yeah, sure, it's Kathleen, I'll jump in again. So United Way, I'm at the office every day, but we are positioned right next to a nursing home. No visitors, no cars in that nursing home, etc. So we are going to be putting out to the community about a letter writing campaign and maybe sending flowers and different types of activities. I did mention about we're going to be mailing out these summer toolkits. We're going to need people to do that from their homes. It'll be really hard for us to mail out 400. I'm in the office every day, but I've got my teams deployed working from their homes safely. So there are new activities that will be coming out that we're going to be asking you to help safely from your home. We are going to be, I talked about toys. If people on this call are interested in buying a toy, having it delivered to your own home, or having it delivered here to United Way, we will package up a lot of different things. We have to take care of people's, like we talked about, mental health, their jobs, their emergency financial assistance, but joy is an important piece here too. So we're trying to manage all of these we have to prioritize how we're doing things, and we're going with crisis first, but there are other activities that we're going to be rolling out to you. We want to roll back out the Project Shoebox, which we will deliver to homeless. People can do that from their home as well. So Ms. Sasha, thank you and your family for all that you do, but we'll be reaching out to all of you for some new safe activities that you can help us with.
Awesome. Great question here from Carrie Lane. Watching United Way Broward County pivot into the sprint portion of this crisis has been incredible. However, what do you envision the marathon leg will look like?
So the marathon leg is going to be a little bit of what Bob and I have talked about. Making sure that there's jobs, that people are getting those jobs, people are feeling secure in those jobs. We are always focused on healthcare, and we're always focused on disparities in healthcare. I think folks know that our minority communities have been hit hardest by COVID and other diseases. So part of that marathon is looking at the economy, looking how we can support those families, that workforce, part of the economic engine here, health disparities, making sure that we can fill those gaps along the way. I can't stress enough, Sandra Einhorn-Vestie's on this call with the CCB and affordable housing. I cannot stress the need for affordable housing here in Broward as well as throughout the country, and we're going to have to be creative, coming up with ways for very low rents that people can afford the rent, but then they can afford to buy food, etc., and other things. So we'll be talking more about the marathon piece, but we want to support people's health, their education, obviously their financial stability, and we want to make sure that we're supporting families and getting to next steps. It's going to be a long run. I think your name was Carrie. It is going to be a very long run, and that's another reason why I am asking people that can to participate in resources so that we can lay out the marathon and making sure that we're serving folks. And there's lots of folks that are hidden. So I'm just quickly this is our new Alice report. Now, it doesn't come out until May 4th. It's embargoed at the moment, but we're super proud that we publish this report every 2 years, and we managed it for the state. In here really talks about how to support families, how to get to next steps. And again, this is not a 1 month effort. This is a continuous effort with strategy and working with all of you on this call, plus many others, to be able to support families to get to next steps. So please tune in and give us a call if you want to participate in the marathon with us. We need folks for the long term, so thank you.
Excellent. We have 2 more questions, one easy, one a little bit harder. So I'll start with the harder one. Joyce Davis is asking, in light of Mayor Holness's executive order to open some parks and public places, and in light of this new information, is United Way of Broward County still implementing the Stay Home Broward campaign?
So we've been asking folks to still do that. We did it, I think we started that, my goodness, day 1, 2, or 3, when we knew that we had to flatten the curve, when we started getting some data. So that was really important in the beginning. We are going to be asking people to use safe ways of going out. We feel that exercise, physical health, I mentioned, is one of those pies in our holistic wellness, is an important piece. People do need to be outside. They need to get fresh air, sunshine, exercise, get out. But you also have to do that safely. So yes, I'm super excited that the parks are opening. They will be limited with the amount of people. People are going to have to wear masks. We want to be able to get masks to everybody as well. So we want you to stay home when you can, but we also want you to safely go outside, practice safety precautions. We're excited to get business back, but we want to do that safely as well. We've got a strategy here. I said I come in every day to United Way, but our entire staff is not going to show up one day. We're going to roll that in. We'll probably do 2%, on a Monday and a Tuesday, and we're going to do that safely, and we're going to ask everybody to do that as well. So our campaign is still, please help to flatten the curve. Flattening the curve helps our healthcare providers here in our hospitals, who have done an amazing job. It was about not overwhelming them at all the same time. So if we could try to flatten the curve, and of course we want to get down at the bottom of that curve, but our campaign will come out differently as new executive orders come out. Thank you.
Okay, and the last question here is from Corinne. She's asking when people might be able to register for the June 3rd virtual Magnolia luncheon. I don't know if you can answer that yet, or if Mary Beth knows, or.
Oh, I'm happy to answer that. We should have tickets available next week, actually. So hang tight. We're gonna do something unique with the tickets, where you can buy a ticket for the regular $50, or you can buy a ticket for $100. That would have been your ticket and your dress for the day, or a ticket for $150, which has been your ticket, your dress, your shoes. 100% of all ticket sales are going to our emergency fund. So I encourage all of you to attend. It's not just for women. Our speaker is going to be phenomenal. So this is what's going to close out our fiscal year this year, and we want to see all your faces on it. So thank you.
Hey, Celeste Bell, one of our wonderful staff members, texting me, reminding me of some things that folks can do. We have Giving Tuesday is coming up. It's an effort that the whole country does together, but we are obviously participating in that. So folks, safely from your home, you can go on Giving Tuesday and make a donation, would be awesome. But we're also going to be rolling out a campaign. We want you to write to healthcare workers, whether it's the head of hospitals or the head of the ER or different things. you can just write a handwritten note. You can look up the hospital and just send notes to the hospital just from your couch. What a great way to say thank you to our healthcare workers for being on the front lines, and just that we're recognizing you, and we appreciate you and we value you. So that's another thing Sasha and the folks on this call can do safely from your houses. Thanks. I think we're out of time. Brandon, any more questions or any last minute questions,
no, that's a good
comments?
question, Kathleen.
I'm sure I missed a ton of things, but
if we did, we'll be able to follow up with you any questions that we missed afterwards, and we'll be sure to address them. Again, you all received an email following this town hall. If you do have any questions, if you want to know how you can get your companies more engaged or yourself more engaged, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself or any of the other staff members that you know at United Way. I think on behalf of all of United Way team, thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for volunteering, for giving, for supporting us through all of this, and for joining us today on the town hall.
Mary Beth, thanks for putting this on. All of you, thanks for tuning in. We wish you wellness. We wish us all back to normal with safety, of course, but thank you for engaging and all that you do. Be safe. We value you so much. Bye, everybody.